Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's good to be back. The past 2 weeks, I spent some time out of town with my wife and with my oldest son, with Toby, on vacation. We visited different cities in Europe. And for those of you who know me and who have been following my sermons, you know that I have mentioned many times how upset it gets me to hear, wherever I'm walking, those Hasidim that look at you and say, "Are you Jewish?" I've spoken about this phenomenon countless times, and my main point in those sermons was like, yes, I'm Jewish. Just because I don't wear a black suit and a hat doesn't mean that you have to ask. And then they ask, have you put on tefillin? And why? Because I'm wearing jeans. You assume that I haven't put on tefillin. And I have struggled with this Jewish American Hasidic custom of stopping people in the middle of the street and asking them if they're Jewish and assuming they haven't put on tefillin. Not a big friend of that tradition. Until last week. I have to be honest, after spending 2 weeks in Europe, after not being able to display my yarmulke and my dog tag, after seeing faces and outfits and signs and stickers that felt threatening, when I was walking in the streets of Paris and I saw a Hasid approaching me, ready to ask me, "Are you Jewish?" I asked him, "Are you Jewish?" And so he tells me, "Yeah, are you Jewish? And have you put on tefillin?" "Yes, I have put on tefillin." "Have you put on tefillin?" "Yes." "Give me a hug," I told him. And there we were, two Jews in the middle of a region of the world that sometimes feel very hostile, giving each other a hug, leaving aside differences because we knew that in those days, what we needed the most from each other was that hug and that embrace. We walked the streets of many cities, and every time we saw someone with a yarmulke or speaking Hebrew or with the Star of David, my son would tell me, "Dad, there's a chaber there. There's a friend. There's a chaber." And I couldn't feel prouder of our existential need to feel connected to our brothers and sisters while we were away from home and we were feeling the pain of an existential threat against our homeland, the state of Israel. Because I believe that the need to be connected to each other in times of anguish is the only antidote. The not feeling alone is the only medicine that can calm the existential pain that we felt in the past 2 weeks. Because we care not only about our friends and relatives who were in Israel, we cared about every single Israeli that was running to the shelters many times during the day. Because we felt that their pain was our pain. That the threat that they were facing was a threat that we were facing. That if they were not safe, we were not safe. It is difficult to explain to those who don't get it and don't understand it, what we feel when we feel connected to other Jews that we have never met in our lives, and yet we feel that what they are going through hurts us. Perhaps the person who put it the best in writing in the past couple of months is Jewish, Argentinian, American thinker Michal Biton, one of the most brilliant minds of American Jewry. She wrote a piece in the Sapir Journal a few weeks after October 7th that was entitled, "That Pain That You Are Feeling is Called Jewish Peoplehood." And she illustrates with a story from the Talmud in Tractate Menachot, a story in which the rabbis are having a discussion regarding a person who has two heads. So a person is born with two heads. Should we treat that entity as two separate people or one person? Are we talking to two people or only to one? And so the rabbis in the Talmud propose an experiment. They say, we pour boiling water over the head, over one of the heads. If the other head screams in pain, that means it's only one person. And my feeling this past couple of weeks, my friends, is that we are one person, that we are one heart. That when I was meeting a Hasidic Jew in the streets of Paris, I was meeting a part of myself. And that's why I needed that hug, that embrace so badly. Because that togetherness was unity in the deepest sense of the word. Was unity because we felt and we knew that even if we were far from each other, we were all one. And so the calmness that comes with the bold decision of our president to attack the nuclear facilities in Iran, and the gratitude that we feel for that decision, is the calmness and the gratitude of an entire Jewish people that is leaving aside its differences. I don't know how closely you follow the statement of Jewish organizations in the past couple of months, that we've been divided over policy. Conservative movement says one thing, the Reform movement says something else, the Zionist organization says one thing, but others, the American Jewish community says something different, AIPAC says one thing, but the Zionist Organization of America says something else. This past week, there was only one voice, the voice of a people that felt that the United States of America had our back. The voice of the people that felt that the ability of our brothers and sisters to sleep at night in Israel was our ability to sleep at night here in America. Because as long as they run to the shelters, we cannot sleep with calmness. It was only after President Trump decided to bomb the underground nuclear facilities in Fordo that I, for the first time in weeks, left my cell phone where I usually charge it and didn't look at it throughout the whole night, because I knew that I don't know until how long, but for now, our brothers, our sisters are safe. I'm going to share with you some family news, some personal things. The past week was a week of disappointment at home because both my boys were supposed to travel to Israel this summer, and the trips got canceled. But 2 days ago, we get an email from Ramah in Israel saying, we decided that it's safe to welcome them back. 24 hours after that missile landed in Beersheba, killing 5 people, the leaders and the educators of Camp Ramah were telling parents, it's safe to send your son to your homeland, to home, to Israel. And you may call me crazy, but I think it's not being crazy, it's being Jewish. My son Toby is flying right after Shabbat on Sunday morning to Tel Aviv with 200 students from the Ramah movement who are going to spend their summer in Israel. And just like that feeling of peoplehood and belonging, just like that need that I had to embrace that Hasidic French Jew that was doubting whether I put on the feeling in the morning or not, there are some feelings that I cannot explain. If you try to rationalize it, which parent, who is so insane, so crazy to send their children to a country where missiles were landing a week ago, and at the same time, I know that there's no place other than Jerusalem where I wish my kids to be in the coming summer. I've spoken with people who knew that their cities were being bombed, and they were in Europe or in America, and they were eager to go back home. No nation on earth see the lucky citizens calling their airlines, asking for a flight back to a country that is under ballistic missiles every hour. I also spoke with people that were lucky enough to evacuate from Israel and felt that a part of them stayed there. No one will understand it because it's something that we don't rationalize, that we don't think, is something that we feel. And that feeling is called Jewish peoplehood. Perhaps more than ever, we understand that belonging to the Jewish people is not about practicing a religion or believing in dogmas. Belonging to a Jewish people is about being part of a big family that only has one home. May we be blessed with a season of calmness and safety in Israel. May more youth and students travel to Israel in the coming weeks and the coming month so that they are inspired with that feeling that those of us who have lived and studied in Israel carry in our hearts and in our shoulders. May the hostages return home. May the war be over soon. May we one day go back to singing about shalom, about peace.